Hi, you're watching episode 28 of the SheRocks College live show. My name is Clarissa, and this show teaches adult college women how to heal their wound of not enough so that they can get out of their own way, earn better grades, and fully enjoy and experience your life alongside of college classes. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to overcome the feeling of not being smart enough, not being good enough, not being worthy enough, not being insert whatever it is that you feel like you are not enough or that you need to prove your worth around. And I'm going to be walking you through how to begin healing that wound, how to begin learning how to trust yourself again, learning how to love yourself again, learning how to be compassionate with yourself again, so that at any point, no matter what is going on, you always feel like you are worthy enough of college and life success. So let's get into today's show. Just like in all of my episodes, I always find that it's really important to lay down the foundation of what I'm going to be talking about today, so that everyone understands how we developed the not enough wound. And when it comes to being a college student, not enough often shows up as not feeling smart enough, not feeling good enough, comparing yourself to what is going on around you in the lecture halls, how everyone else is doing, how you're comparing, how you're measuring up. And I think it's really important that you understand that that feeling, that belief, that thought that you're having that you're not smart enough, that you're not good enough, wasn't something that you were born with. It's not a program that as an infant, when you came into this world, you had automatically running. The feeling, the thought, I am not good enough, I am not smart enough, is something that we learn through our lifetime. And it often starts in our household. It often starts with our caretakers. And then as we grow, we might have adopted that belief, being in the educational setting, whether that could have been Head Start, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. As we grow older, a lot of these belief systems about what we need to be, who we need to be, what we need to have in order to be worthy of love, in order to be worthy of a job, in order to be worthy of a grade or a degree, often gets fed to us through the media, through experiences that we've had, through relationships that we've had. But at the core of it, a lot of the times it always stems back to our childhood, where at some point we experience something, usually between the age of 0 and 7 years old, where we began to adopt the belief that we weren't good enough. And what happens, or what plays out throughout our life, is that we recreate experiences that basically re-trigger that wound. So it's important that we understand that this isn't something that we are innately born with. It's not a belief system that you came into this world with. No one is born worthy or not worthy. We all start off in the same state. We all come in with the same level of worthiness. And there is nothing that you need to do in order to prove your worth. However, we have been conditioned to believe that we need to do certain things, that we need to be a certain person, that we need to have certain things in order to be worthy of love, be worthy of belonging, be worthy of connection, be worthy of success. And that is really what you're battling in the college and university setting, where we're often being judged on a consistent basis. We're being judged on our skills, we're being judged on our intelligence level, we're being judged on our ability to handle certain situations. We're constantly being criticized on the work that we're producing. And so we can have the wounds of feeling like we're not enough triggered a lot in the college setting. And that is what is happening if you are feeling like nothing you do is enough, like you're not measuring up, like you're being left behind. And the fear around that, right? The fear around that is that somehow you're going to be left behind, that somehow that you not measuring up means that you're not going to be loved, that you're not going to find connection, that you're not going to find a group of people that you're going to be able to build relationships with, that this is somehow going to ruin your future, etc. And so that is why we get so anxious when things aren't going our way, and why we start thinking that we're not good enough or that we might be doing something wrong. And I have a lot of episodes in the SheRocks College live show that goes into the psychology of shame and feeling like you're not good enough and perfectionism. So if you're interested in those, I'm going to list them out for you here because I think there'll be a good foundation for what I'm going to be talking about next. So the first episode is episode 17, where I talk about what it's like to feel like you're not smart enough as a college student and the shame cycle that can develop, right? Because feeling like you're not good enough often is rooted in shame, and all shame really is feeling like you're not worthy of belonging, feeling like you're not worthy of love, feeling like you're not worthy of connection, that there is something innately wrong about you. That's where shame comes from. And it starts to create a disconnection. It creates disconnection from you and other people. And it also creates a disconnection from yourself, because you begin to disassociate from your truth. You begin to disassociate from your own needs. You begin to disassociate from what is real for you in order to meet the needs of other people, so that somehow they will, you will continue to feel connected to them. But it really causes disconnection. So episode 17 of the SheRocks College live show goes into the shame cycle, and I talk about how Brene Brown, who is a shame researcher, tells us to deal with shame. You also want to look into episode 27, where I talked about how this feeling of thinking and believing that you're not enough leads to burnout. And so if you find yourself in the middle of the semester not being able to get anything done, feeling absolutely exhausted, it comes from this belief that you have that you're not good enough. Because what feeling like you're not good enough does is that you begin to just overproduce. You begin to do anything and everything to try to prove your worth. You begin to, neglect your needs in order to meet the expectations of other people, so that they will see you as worthy, as lovable, as someone who they want to hang out with, as someone who they want to look up to. You're trying to hold on to an identity that you believe earns you something. And so episode 27, I deep dive into that. And also I have an episode all about perfectionism, which also dives into the whole shame cycle and this feeling of not being enough. So if you know that this is happening to you, if you've ever had the words come out of your mouth, I'm not doing enough, I'm not succeeding enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not smart enough, my grades aren't where they need to be, I am not doing as well as everyone else, any sentence like that, you are dealing with the belief that you are not enough, which is really a fear of being left behind, of being disconnected, of not being worthy of love, belonging, and connection. So hear me when I say that. When you tell yourself that you are not enough, underneath that is a fear that if you don't behave a certain way, if you don't look a certain way, if you don't act a certain way, if you don't have certain things, if you don't live a certain lifestyle, if you don't do certain things, it means that people won't love you. It means that you won't belong, and it means that you will never, ever, ever find connection, which is the very basic of human needs. As children, we need that connection in order to survive. We need to feel connected to our parents because they are the only people, our caretakers are the only people who are meeting our needs as children, because you literally, as an infant, can't provide for yourself, you can't cook for yourself, you can't find your own food, and so you need that connection in order to survive as an infant. As you begin to grow older, connection is more about finding your place in society. It becomes about finding purpose, about belonging, about growth, about purpose, all which are necessary, all which are a part of the 6 human needs that we all strive for, that we all do things to try to have met. But when we experience things in our young life, so usually, before the age of 7, that wound us and make us believe that we're not good enough. Anytime we experience something similar to that, whether that be not getting a certain grade, whether that be a friend not texting us back, whether that be a conversation that you have with your professor, it can trigger that wound, or that time where we felt like the need of connection, of love, of belonging wasn't met. And that's what's happening here. So how we begin to heal from all of the programming that we've received around, what it means to be smart enough, what it means to be a good student, what it means to be brilliant, what it means to be successful, is we need to start exploring expectations around who we believe that we need to be, what we believe we need to do, and what we believe we need to have in order to be worthy of love, connection, belonging, success. Insert whatever need it is that you feel like is missing. And you start doing that by free writing all of your expectations. So again, it's anything that comes after the sentence, I believe I need to be in order to achieve X. I believe I need to have in order to achieve X. I believe I need to do in order to achieve X. All of those are expectations, right? Expectations are belief systems or thoughts about how things should or shouldn't go. And again, we get programmed. We learn through society, we learn through our parents, we learn through school, we learn through the media who we need to be, what our life needs to look like in order for us to be worthy. That's what marketing is all about. Marketing constantly will make you feel like you're not enough if you are not grounded in yourself and if you don't understand who you are, what you want, and what is true for you. So the first step of healing the not enough wound is exploring the rules, the expectations, the belief systems you have around who you need to be, what you need to do, and what you need to have in order to be successful as a student, or you can insert whatever it is that you want. Some students believe that that they're not enough because they didn't attend a 4-year university, because they're at a community college, and they have these stories that they create that students who attend community college must not be as smart as students who automatically got into a 4-year college. Anytime you feel like weird, embarrassed, ashamed to talk about things, usually that's an indication that you have this story or belief about what your life should be, right? And so you don't want to talk about it because you believe that it makes you different, that there must be something wrong with you because you couldn't go directly from high school into college. Maybe you took a year off. Maybe you attempted college and didn't do well the first time around, and you're now an older adult student, anywhere between the age of 27 to much higher, and you're going back to school now after years of being out, and you're afraid to talk about your experience. You're ashamed to talk about your experience. That all right there is an indication that you have a story or a belief of how your life should have gone. And these shoulds or shouldn'ts, right? Because I should do this, I shouldn't do this, I should have this, I shouldn't have this, I have to do things this way. This is the ideal way of achieving success. This is the ideal way of seeing success. Anytime you have those stories playing out in your head, those are expectations, and that is conditioning and programming that you need to start to question whether or not it's actually true. Is it true that the only way to succeed in life is to go to a 4-year college? Is it true that because I went to a community college, it means that I am not smart enough, that I am not worthy enough, that I am not capable enough? When you begin to start questioning these stories, these belief systems that you have, it starts to dismantle the conditioning, and you begin to see the truth about you, which is that you are worthy as you are. You have always been worthy, and that there is nothing that could ever make you unworthy of belonging, of connection, and of love. But if you go through life unconscious, not being aware of what is going on in your mind, the stories that you're telling yourself, if you never question what is true, not true about your belief systems, this is where problems come up, because you will never know what is true for you. You will always feel like you're not enough, because none of what you believe about yourself is grounded in what you believe to be true about you. It's just what everyone else is telling you that you should be, do, and have in order to achieve X, Y, or Z. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is, after you've done like a free writing exercise on who you believe that you need to be, what you need to have, what you need to do in order to be worthy of whatever, insert the answer here, you want to ask yourself, who actually needs you to be that way? Because I promise you that this is going to tie back to an experience, a person. Usually it's caretakers. Often it can be professors. Often it can be teachers. But more often than not, it's a caretaker. Who needs you to be this way? So you just listed out all of these expectations about how you need and are supposed to show up in the world. And now I want you to ask yourself, who needs you to be this way? Who is asking you to be this way? Is it you? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it your grandmother? Is it your grandfather? Is it your aunt? Is it your stepfather? Whoever raised you? Is it your best friend? Is it your husband? Is it your boyfriend? Is it your girlfriend? Is it your brother? Is it your sister? Who is asking you to be this way? This is a really important question because of the exercises that are to follow. After you answer that question, and oftentimes it'll be a parent or a caretaker who you will feel intuitively that question answers. The next thing that you need to journal about and ask yourself is, why do they need me to be that way? Who needs me to be this way? And why do they need me to be this way? What do they gain by you behaving, living out your life, getting the grades it is that you're supposed to get? What do they gain out of it? Why do they need you to be that way? The next question that you want to ask yourself is, what do I gain by being that? What do I gain by being that? So in order for me to be worthy of the smart enough title, of love, of connection, of being enough, if I believe that I need to be the perfect student, never procrastinates, who always gets 95s or above, who can handle 3 jobs while going to school full time and never complain, and I need to be that way for my mom in order for her to be proud of me, what am I gaining by being that version of myself? Often what you are gaining is connection, it's love, it's approval, all which are basic human needs that were probably not met for you as a child. And what you are trying to do now as an adult is use really ineffective coping mechanisms to have those needs met. So again, the process to begin the healing from all the programming that you received around what it means to be smart, what it means to be a good student, what it means to be brilliant and successful, what it means to be good enough, starts with you listing out all of the stories and expectations around who you believe that you need to be, what you need to do, and what you need to have in order to be worthy of the title of smart enough, worthy of the title of whatever it is, whatever identity it is that you're trying to hold on to. 2, ask yourself who needs you to be that way. 3, why do they need you to be that way? 4, what do you gain? Often, it is a basic human need that you're trying to meet in yourself. And there is a great video here on YouTube all around the 6 basic human needs. Tony Robbins talks about it. It's an adaptation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs with more of an emotional, spiritual side, which I think really makes more sense for the time period that we're living in right now, where for most of us, our basic survival needs are met. Most of us have shelter. Most of us have food. Most of us have our physiological needs being met. And what we're really lacking as a society are those more higher level connection, growth type of needs. And what's really interesting is that as humans, on a psychological level, we will do really crazy things that go against what is the best for us in order to have these basic needs met. And again, just type in here on YouTube, 6 basic human needs, Tony Robbins, and watch the video on that, because it's going to make so much sense. In that question where you're asking yourself, what am I gaining from being this person, from trying to achieve this unrealistic expectation of myself, you will find that you're trying to meet one of those 6 human needs. The last question that you want to ask yourself is, how can you begin to meet the need in yourself without needing to live up to these expectations, this programming, this condition that was being placed on you by society? And this is what is called a reparenting process. So again, each and every single one of us has an inner child. So the version of us who is 7 years old or younger, who has a wound, an inner child wound, which means that at some point we didn't have one of our needs met as a child. And as children, we're in a very egocentric type of psychology where we make everything about us. Our parents, come home late from work one day, and all of a sudden that means, oh, my mom and dad doesn't love me. They won't let us sleep in their bed one night, and we make it mean all about us. And that gets ingrained in our brain. And we have experiences now as adult that re-trigger that childhood wound to make us feel like we're not lovable, that we're not enough, that we need to be doing things in order to prove our worth, in order to gain other people's approval, in order to gain other people's love, in order to gain other people's, connection to other people. And that's what is happening when you are feeling like you are not enough. And again, that comes in many different forms: not smart enough, not doing enough, not successful enough, whatever it is, not pretty enough, not skinny enough. You are trying to get a need met. And these questions that I'm giving you here are helping you to uncover what those needs are so that you can meet them in yourself first. Because you can, as an adult, You cannot expect for other people to meet your needs. It is not their responsibility. And there is nothing that you need to do or have to do in order to prove your worth to other people, because you are innately worthy. And the only way that you can start believing that is by reparenting yourself and meeting your own needs first. Now, I am not a licensed psychologist. I am not a therapist of any kind. And so what I would love to do is share with you a resource by a licensed holistic practitioner, a therapist, on reparenting. She actually has a reparenting guide and a reparenting video. And you can look up this video here on YouTube. It's by the holistic psychologist. And so she has a 4-part process for reparenting or healing the inner child, which is super important if you want to learn how to overcome the feeling that you're not enough, which is really a fear that if you are not a certain way, if you don't behave a certain way, if you don't do things a certain way, if your life doesn't pan out exactly the way that people tell you that it should pan out, if it deviates any way from the status quo and you start to feel like you're not enough, it is a fear that you will somehow be disconnected from people. You won't be loved. You won't be worthy. You have this fear that you will be disconnected from everything and everyone and left behind to die alone. This is what this not enough is really about. And we try to deal with this by overcompensating and overdoing as a society, especially college students. Especially if you're in college, you're going to fixate so much on the perfect study schedule and the perfect plan and getting the perfect grades, because you think all of those external things, if you do all those things outside of you perfectly, then you will earn your worth. And you can go ahead, friend, and try to earn your worth in that way. And you will find yourself disillusioned, burnt the hell out, dissatisfied, frustrated, depressed, and unhappy, because nothing outside of you can help you to remember your worth. It's not going to earn it for you. You have to start by first deconditioning yourself from all of the programming that you received around what it means to be worthy, to be smart enough, to be lovable. And that starts by questioning what those beliefs are in the first place. Awareness is always the first step if you want to change anything about yourself. You have to notice what's happening, what's going on, and understand it in order to be able to fix it. Once you understand it, once you know what's going on, you can begin to work the steps in order to make the changes you need to feel in your life the way that you want to feel. And at the end of the day, everything we do in life, everything that we don't do in life, it's because we want to be happy. We want to feel the joy of life. We want to feel alive. That's what we're all seeking. And so these steps that I laid out for you is how you can begin that process. And this is everything that my program, Study School, is built around. My whole company, SheRocks College, is built around helping adult college women heal from the not enough wound, and teaching them how to begin redefining what it means to be smart, what it means to be a good student, what it means to be brilliant and successful as they're going through college. Because without defining that for yourself, you will find yourself lost, confused, overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated, burnt out as you're going through college. And it wasn't designed to feel that way. It wasn't designed to feel that way. College does require effort, but if you do it right, by first starting with a grounding in yourself and understanding what your needs are, what your goals are, what your desires are, and you built out your college experience from that, you will find that the whole process feels filled with ease. It really lights you up. It really brings you joy and grows you as a person. And that is what I'm trying to do and change in the educational system, because the current way of us viewing how college should go isn't serving our society. It isn't helping our self-esteem. It isn't helping to uplift the people that are going to one day be running companies, be contributing to innovations, possibly running the country, etc. And so that is the conversation that I wanted to have today. And I hope that the message that you needed to hear came through me today. I hope that I was articulate enough. I hope that it came out as clearly as it didn't. And if you have questions about it, if anything that I said today is confusing or you want more information, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm active on Instagram, so you can always send me a direct message there. I'm SheRocks College on all social media platforms. You can always comment below this video, and you're always welcome to engage with me in the show because it is a live show. And right now we have Deja on with us live, we working, who is really struggling with thriving and getting a full scholarship in college. And Jason, if you want to continue that work together, invitation for study school is still open. So thank you all for joining me live here on SheRocks College Live, a show that happens every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we have conversations about what it's really like to do life alongside of college. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.